You know, they say loyalty will get you killed sometimes, and if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you probably are thinking about that. The fact that, man, it's tough to really be a fan of this team from time to time. Hey, the offense showed up in the first half, disappeared in the second half. The defense just can't make stops. Can't get to the quarterback consistently. Can't, stop any kind of passing routes consistently. But let's dive into what happened against Miami, and maybe just a little bit more in today's Lions Talk Live.
My thought is that as frustrating as it is, I know how close we are because we are still talking about one play. And the hard thing is to just keep doing your job, and stand in the thick of the storm. And the easy thing is to go down below and get under the blanket and eat all the food and whatever. It's the guys who are going to stay on the deck and just continue to do their part because they know the sun's coming. Those are the guys we're looking for. So that's how I choose to think of this. The only way to clean up everything is to go back to work. That's all I know.
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host, Dan Thornton. This is Lions Talk Live, and I'm sure you're just as angry and frustrated as I am internally over watching this game. Another game that we could have won. Another game we saw moments of promise and then absolutely moments of agony and defeat. Whatever it is, hey, it's part of being a fan of this team. I get we have a lot of young talent starting to find their way. I get anytime there's a meaningful moment in the game, the other team's going to throw at Amani Oruwariye. I can't pronounce his name, and I apologize for that. But whatever it is, we've got a couple things that to look forward to as far as the future, but the current isn't the greatest. And that's just the reality of this team and probably all this season. Are we going to end up with the number one pick? Who knows? But we've got a lot of season left, so I'm hoping to see the team improve. I'm hoping to see the younger players continue to progress. So let's talk about what did happen today. Before we get into what happened today, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I want to thank everybody who's supporting Lions Talk Live. It's been great watching you guys give some feedback, some comments, and really help the channel grow. If you have an opportunity, perhaps, if you would, consider subscribing, leaving a thumbs up. And hey, what do you think of the channel? What do you think of Dan Campbell? What do you think of the fact that DeAndre Swift got sparing minutes today? A little bit here, a little bit there. Is that because of his injury? Is that because they're sending a message to him that, hey, you should have played before, but you needed to wait till you got 100%? Who knows? And I don't have that answer, but I'm just curious what you all feel about that. So let's dive into breaking down today's game. I guess me trying to find a positive spin in other games this season, it's been able to say, hey, let's point the finger at this person. They're the scapegoat. Whether that was the defense, Campbell at moments, Goff at moments, whatever. I don't really feel like today there was one person that you could look at and say, that's the one who did it. It wasn't, a fumble. It wasn't some odd 4th and 9, let's go for it call. It's just a combination of things that we have some good young talent, and this is just my opinion, on both sides of the ball. We just don't have enough talent. The coaching does seem to be getting better, sort of like the players. But we just don't have enough experience in the coaching staff, nor enough good players to overcompensate some things. I mean, I'll say this. A year ago at this time, everybody thought Jeff Okudah was a bust. Now, I'll say this. Teams aren't really going after him. But is that because there are so many other parts in the secondary that are easier to pick apart? That might be it. We see flashes of plays here and there on both sides of the ball. Today, I'm sure throughout the rest of this week, we're going to hear people say, well, Adian Hutchinson didn't make any plays. But I would say this. While there were parts of this game when I kept waiting for him to make, play, probably like everybody else out there. But when Tua is able to get rid of the ball in a second and a half to 2 seconds on average, how fast can a defensive lineman really get there? And is that a, indictment against the secondary and include the linebackers? People ran open far more often than not, and that's why we kept getting roasted time and time again. Any pass that looked like an alley-oop or just a deep pass, Hail Mary, Miami came up with those passes. They came up with those catches 9 times out of, I'd say, 10 at least. Now, Goff on 4th and 2 late in the game throws a Hail Mary into the end zone. He's got one-on-one with Josh Reynolds. Reynolds just can't make that play. And maybe he shouldn't have thrown it to him, but either way, you would like to see a receiver go after and get it. You'd also like to see the quarterback get the first down, so who are you going to blame? It was good to see St. Brown back on the field. Reynolds made a couple plays. Khalif Raymond, let's not forget him. He made several good plays throughout the game. Just unfortunately, we couldn't sustain drives in the second half. You'll have to watch the coaching tape when it's available tomorrow. What happened in the second half? What did Miami do, as beat up as they were in the secondary, to slow us down? And let's be honest, they slowed us down the second half. As far as our defense, probably not a whole lot more we can do until free agency and the draft next year, because really, this is who you have. And we have one corner that's, I think we would say Jeff Okudah is better than average, but who's opposite of him and who's playing in that secondary? And it just seems like team after team, ever since the Minnesota game at Minnesota, teams are just going after players that aren't, Jeff, to pick us apart. And they picked on Amani Oruwariye a ton today, over and over and over. What do you think of today's games? If you can, we're far enough into the season. What do you think of Dan Campbell? Has he progressed as a coach? Aaron Glenn, once, in front of the firing squad, now people have kind of calmed down about him. It's 3 straight games, I guess you could say, where you've seen improvement on the defense. But let's be fair, Miami's receivers just roasted our worst part of the defense, and they did it time and time again. I hope you all have a great end of your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. And if you aren't already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment and think about hitting the like button. It would help this channel greatly grow. So take care. We'll see y'all tomorrow on Lions Talk Live.